Hey there, everyone. It's Baka here, and welcome to episode number 23 of the Wide World of Geek, where we look at what's new and newsworthy in the world of geek this week. Now, I've got a few things that I want to talk about. And first up, yesterday, the first official trailer for the Man of Steel came out online. Now, this is Zack Snyder's retelling of what looks to be the origin story, the early times of Clark Kent as Superman. It is in part produced by Christopher Nolan of the Dark Knight trilogy, and it looks really cool. Now, granted, when I first saw the trailers for Superman Returns, I thought it looked pretty cool too, and then I saw the movie, and we all know how that went. So, Christopher Nolan's taking a much more realistic approach. Superman is not perfect. Superman has worries. We get to see what Superman's powers, how they affect him as a young boy, and then how they're affecting him as an adult. It appears, we get to see General Zod show up. There appears to be some sort of Kryptonian space army in it. Superman actually punches somebody in this movie, which is very different than what's happened in the past. The old Christopher Reeve Superman movies, he punches missiles. He doesn't really punch people except blah, 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 for Superman 2, where he gets to punch Zod. But we get to see Superman using his powers, and that's going to be great. Second bit of news. 2 days from now, as of when I'm filming this, on Friday, December 14th, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey comes to theaters. Now, this is the first of the trilogy of Hobbit movies from director Peter Jackson, who you really all should know, I really shouldn't have to say this, but is the director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The Hobbit being the prequel to the trilogy, written by J.R.R. Tolkien, and it stars some of the people from the Lord of the Rings trilogy in the same roles, but obviously not as important of roles in this book because they're not really in The Hobbit that much. Legolas shows up, and they have Orlando Bloom as that. They, for some reason, have Frodo, even though he's not mentioned in The Hobbit at all. And I think, let me just check this real quick. They do have Ian McKellen as Gandalf, who obviously plays a huge role in The Hobbit. And I'm not sure, but Ian Holm might show up as old Bilbo. So, whether he does or not, I'm excited for this movie. This movie is what I wish would have happened before the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Obviously, I understand because of the action-orientedness of Lord of the Rings that it needed to come first. Whether they really needed to make the Hobbit 3 movies or not, that's up to debate. Now, the third bit of news. This goes out to all of the sports geeks out there, which I do number myself among. I realize that I'm a huge movie and comic geek, but I am also a huge sports geek. 2 weeks ago was a very important Saturday for my sports teams. Notre Dame found out who they would be facing for the national championship in Division I football, that being Alabama. I am looking forward to Notre Dame crushing them. It's my opinion, I realize, not everybody's, but hey, it's my hometown team. The other bit of sporting news was on that same Saturday, my alma mater, Messiah College, our men and women's soccer team won the national championship in Division III soccer. This is the 9th national championship for the men since the year 2000 and the 5th for the women since 2004 or 5. So very, very successful programs. I got to watch both of them online, so thank you, interwebs. You've made me very happy. Now, the last thing I want to do is I'm going to be adding a new segment to the Wide World of Geek called Baka's Top 5. Now, I'm going to be giving my top 5 whatevers. The category could change week to week, and it will change week to week, because they're my top 5. They're not going to be changing all that much. So for this week, I want to talk about my top 5 NES games, Nintendo Entertainment System. This is the original Nintendo. Came out in 1985, perhaps? Google, help me. Nintendo. Yes, 1985. I'm not a loser. We got it in 1985 or 1986, I'm not sure which, and instantly fell in love with it. We did not have the Atari. We had a TRS-80, which gave you some basic games that really seemed like Nintendo ripoffs. There was very much a Donkey Kong ripoff, a Galaga ripoff, and then some random games like really bad polygon-based skiing games that made no sense. Anyway, top 5 NES games. And for me, this is not obviously the top 5 for everyone. This is top 5 for me. So comment, give me your top 5, argue with me. I don't care. Let's get some discussion on this. For me, number 5 is a game called Wizards and Warriors. Now, this was not a hugely successful game. This was not one of those, oh, if you own a Nintendo, you need to have this game. But this was an incredibly hard game. This is what we call Nintendo hard. This was a platformer. It was a side-scrolling platformer, but unlike most at that time, you could move right and you could move left. You could go up, you could enter doors, and you'd get a whole new platforming system. Enemies would be ground-based, they'd be air-based, they'd swoop out from nowhere. And you had to do all these things. You had to collect different colored keys to open different doors, to get different treasures, to get different weapons, to face different bosses, and the bosses got increasingly difficult. The platforming got increasingly difficult. Now, I only ever beat this game once, and my cousin and I had to stay up all night. When we went to bed for a few hours, we left the Nintendo on, heating up, obviously, because like most Nintendo games, there was no save option. If you powered down, your game was lost. So we stayed up all night. In the morning, I say stay up all night. For an 8-year-old kid, that was, midnight. We got up early in the morning, we finished the game, and we were so happy, and we never played the game again. That's how it went back then. Number 4 was Metroid. Now, I loved Metroid for the NES. I loved Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. Not the Game Boy Color, not the Game Boy Advance, not the Game Boy DS, whatever. Nintendo DS. The original Game Boy, black and white. But for the NES, Metroid, new ways of doing platforming, ways you'd never seen before, bosses you'd never seen, environments, weapons. It was revolutionary for its time. It was a great game. Number 3 is one that's probably in a lot of people's top 5, and that's Contra. Contra, for me, it wasn't really because of the platforming and shooting and storyline, whatever. It was for the cheat code. It was the Konami cheat code. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Unlimited ammo, unlimited lives, unlimited weapons. Go to whatever level you like. It was a dream come true for a kid. It was the first inkling I had of, hey, I can play this game and not lose because I can get whatever I need whenever I need it. So it was fun for me. Number 2, and this is probably in everybody's top 2 NES games, at least most people's, and that is The Legend of Zelda. Now, I almost put this at number 1 because Legend of Zelda has spawned an empire of games. It was highly successful at the time. It is highly successful still. And it was this great cross between what we now think of as a classic role-playing game, an adventure game, a puzzle game, and it was also the first game for the NES where you could save your progress. There were save files. And there was always this big rumor that if you typed in the right name, that it would give you certain cheats. I never found that. Now, this was a game that I did not own as a kid. My cousins had it, and so we'd go over there and we'd play it, and they had the gold disc edition, which was limited to like 4 million copies or something like that. Then they had Zelda 2, and we'd play both of these games, and Zelda 2 gets a bad rap, I think. I enjoyed it because I like platformer games. But somehow, some way, probably in a trade of games which I made with cousins all the time, we ended up getting Legend of Zelda 1 and 2 and played it and beat it and loved it. Now, number one for me is the first game. It's the quintessential game. It is Nintendo, and that is Super Mario Brothers. Not Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers. When we got the Nintendo, Duck Hunt hadn't come out yet. The light gun had come out, and it came out with a game called Wild Gunman, which we had, which was frustrating beyond belief for me because, well, the light gun's not necessarily the most accurate thing in the world. But we had Super Mario Brothers. And everything from the music, the sound effects, the platforming, the characters, the storyline, as simple as that all was, it's amazing. It is what you think of when you think of Nintendo. You know, Mario is everywhere. He's got 4 bazillion games out there. They're all successful. You know, when you launch a new Nintendo platform, you'd better launch some sort of Super Mario Brothers game with it. Because they sell, because they work, because they're successful, and because they're good. Now, Super Mario Brothers for me, level 1, 2, Underworld, da-na-na-na-na-na, that right there, that gets me psyched for this game. When I hear the speed up of the music, the darker music, when your time gets under a minute and you've got to try to hurry to get past, it gets your blood pumping. At least it did for me as a kid. So yeah, Super Mario Brothers, number 1. Go team. So that's all I've got for this week's show. I'm not going to promise a view review for this weekend because I work all day Saturday, but I'm going to try. I might be able to film it after school one day before going to the second job, but we'll see. I have some movies that I get to review at least. Maybe I can film a few of those and get ahead. We'll see. But if not, this is Baka. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great day. Bye.